So today I'm going to be showing you how to make Hasselback butternut squash with harissa and feta with a little bit of mint. It's absolutely delicious. You could have this as a veggie main dish or you could serve it as a side. And it's really simple to do. So you're going to start with butternut squash. You could also use sweet potato if you wanted to make a smaller version of this. The key thing is to peel it to start with. So I'm going to use a potato peeler just to take off the hard skin from the outside. I have done most of this already. So that's just the last little extra bit done. And then you want to slice it in half. So this is quite hard because they are quite tough creatures. There we go. Slice it in half, take the knife down one way and then the other. And then once you've got your two halves like this, then what you need to do is take out the pips from the inside. So use a metal spoon just to lift out from the hollow the pips and these little kind of fibrous strands. And actually the hollow is really useful. You'll see why in just a moment, because there's a little trick that you can do when cooking the squash that makes the most of the natural hollow. So that's the first one done. And then I'll just do the other one. So just take that out, scoop out the pips, and you will have your hollow on the inside. There we go. So having got those ready, you then want to Hasselback them, which is where you cut them down. Now the thing with the Hasselbacking is that it's sometimes very easy just to slice right the way through. So that of course just cuts the whole thing in half, which is not what you want. So a little hack here is you get two wooden spoons and you place those at either side, the long side of whatever it is you are cutting down. And then you can basically slice down without worrying about how far you're going, because the wooden spoons stop the knife from travelling too far down. So this is a tip that you can use whether you're doing something large like this, like the butternut squash, or whether you're doing baking potatoes. This is also really good. Sweet potatoes, you can do it this way. And even if you use the little mini potatoes, you know, when you get the little tiny new potatoes, they are really good to do as little interesting side dishes, or you can even serve them as a canapé on their own. You could have them with a little sour cream dip. Just going to turn those spoons over. And I'm going to swap knives to a longer knife here because I have got a larger bit of the butternut squash at the end. There we go. So just cut this all the way down and then it'll still be intact but beautifully cut, which of course looks really impressive. You could serve this as a centerpiece if you wanted, as a supper dish. So that is my butternut squash that is cut all the way down, beautifully cut and all still in one piece. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that into a baking dish. And I talked about the little hole at the end here, and this is really useful just to pop in a few bay leaves. I've got some fresh picked bay leaves. Give them just a little bit of a scrumple, just kind of bend them just to release the essential oil flavour, and then you pop that inside the butternut squash end and then flip that over, and then what happens is that bay leaf flavour just infuses as the entire vegetable cooks. So what you need to do now is make your harissa marinade to go over the top. So you're going to use harissa paste, 2 tablespoons of harissa paste, or you could use less if you didn't want it too strong. So I'm going to use about half that amount probably from here, because I'm not a massive chili fan, but I know people love chili and love harissa. It's this really pungent chili flavour. And then into that I'm going to put the juice of half a lime squeezed in. Lime and harissa work really well together. And then you also want some garlic. So I'm going to get 2 garlic cloves, and I'm just going to crush those in to the mixture. So I've got 1 garlic clove into there like that. And then the next garlic clove. Again, garlic and harissa, really, really good marinades. And then to make that a little bit runnier, so it goes further, I'm going to also add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. So I'm going to use 2 to 3 tablespoons there of the olive oil and mix that all up together. If you didn't want to have it quite so strong, you could use less harissa and more of the olive oil. The olive oil is good because it soaks into the flesh of the butternut squash and gives it a really good flavour. It's also full of really healthy fats. So I like quite a lot of olive oil compared to my ratio of harissa paste, so I'm using a little bit extra in there. And then once you've made your paste, you go back to your squash and you want to really smother this all over. The idea is that you get it so that it will infuse into the slices while it's baking, and that flavour will infuse right the way through the vegetable dish. If you want, you can use a pastry brush. I find that the silicone brushes work quite well and they don't tend to absorb the chili flavour, which means that if you then go on and use them for pastry or something afterwards, then it's fine to do that because they just wash really clean. So having covered that, you then need to pop a piece of tin foil over the top because you don't want that to burn while that cooks. And you're going to put that in a medium hot oven for about 30 minutes. So about 30 minutes in the oven, and then you take it out. I've got one here, that I put in earlier. Now that's actually had another stage, so I'm going to put this one in and I'll tell you about this one, because once 30 minutes has passed, you're going to take this out and you're then going to do the next step, which is to glaze it with honey, and that's what I did with this one. So here, this has just come out of the second stage, and you literally, for this, super easy, you get some really good quality runny honey, and you just take a couple of spoonfuls and you glaze it all over the top, and then you pop that back in the oven, and that's what's giving this lovely golden brown. Do you see this lovely crispy golden brown and a bit of extra sweetness as well, which really works well with the chili of the harissa. So then, having done that, you are pretty much ready to go. You just need to serve it. So what I've done here is I've popped these slices onto a serving plate, you can see, and sprinkled it with feta. You just want to divide them up a little bit just so that you can see. And I'm going to pop a little bit more feta onto there. Just crumble it on. It's a really good combination, the butternut squash and the good quality natural feta. And then what also works really well with this dish is a little bit of fresh mint scattered on. The mint is really clean tasting and cuts through the chili flavour. And then last but not least, I'm using some fresh watercress. Watercress is such an incredible superfood, such a powerhouse. And of course the trick with watercress is to always make sure that you eat it raw. So I'm going to use that as not only an attractive garnish, but also something that is very tasty and nutritious to serve alongside. And it is a great combination. You find the whole recipe by clicking on the link below. Hope you enjoy it.